NZ Aerosports, Icarus Canopies, now Gyro. That's right, we've rebranded, and Gyro is our next generation. It honours our founder, as that's the name we knew him by, but Gyro also marks the start of a new chapter. And not to be biased, but it's going to be fucking epic. Long story short, we're more us than ever, so if you're new to the sport, or even a Sky God Ninja Turtle, welcome. I think our valiant leader Lucy, Gyro's daughter, says it best.
And we still got that fuck yeah attitude. Rebrand! Woo!
Rebrand woo indeed, Lucy. Anyway, head over to gyro.com for more info and get amongst you legends.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus Canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight. Hey gang, so I got a new book out. It's called The Upside of Fear, and it's exactly what you think it's about. It's about the good side of, well, getting scared. In it, we talk not only about the science and biology behind fear, but the psychology as well. And it's not just coming from me, it's coming from some of the best in the sport. Omar Alhigelan, Jeff Provenzano, Maxine Tate, and so many more have contributed their sometimes terrifying stories to the book to help you overcome your fear. So head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com. You're going to find the link to the book there, as well as the other books. It's available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook right now.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go! Back in the can for another edition of the Lunatic Fringe podcast, and a fun, informative one. Tell me, who the fuck are you? What do you do?
Hi, hello. Thanks for inviting. I'm Marta Molinska, and I am a skydiver and instructor from Poland.
Very nice. Not exactly the skydiving season for you guys right now, though, is it?
No, not really. That's why we have the time to have a chat with you, for example. Yeah, we have to do something during winter.
Sure. Now, I mean, it's proper winter there. So you said before we started, it's like proper snowing. So how do you get your jump fix in when you're in the winter in Poland?
Well, many people just go abroad and skydive. I'm more focused at the moment on preparing for the skydiving symposium coming up in 2 months. But generally, we also have a kind of, break between seasons. And since I'm also running a drop zone, it's the break that I need.
Nice. I can imagine. You guys, towards the end of the busy season, you must be looking forward to a little bit of snow.
Yes, a bit. That's true.
So, as I do with all my guests, I'm going to jump you back to how you got started in skydiving. What was your experience, and what led you to the sport?
Well, I'm skydiving since 2012, so it's not that long, I'd say. probably shorter than most of your guests, I think. So of course, I started with a tandem skydive, like most of people who started around like 10, 11 years ago. So that was my first jump, and that was like a super straightforward story. I just wanted to do it, have it done, like a dream from a bucket list. That's it. But just like for many, this leap of faith was also a kind of, a game changer for my entire life.
Well, now
This
what was it you were doing work wise and lifestyle wise before you went out to make that first jump?
Oh, boring stuff. I was I was a product owner of financial services in as a PayU company, something like PayPal, but in Poland.
Okay.
So I was kind of, designing new payment methods online. So I was kind of involved in e-commerce marketplaces. Yeah, e-commerce still kind of stayed in my life for at least some years, because I was organizing conferences for an agency which designs websites. So that was something that I was doing for a couple of years after I started skydiving, and obviously I had to quit a corporation because it didn't leave me enough time for skydiving.
I see. That's what I love is most people, if they're not jumpers, would hear that story and go, well, that was completely backwards. You're supposed to go from silly shit like jumping out of airplanes into the corporate world, not the other way around.
Well, like people have super different stories. Mine was also kind of connected to a personal life because I fell in love with my instructor.
That's been known to happen.
Yeah, that tends to happen, and we're a couple ever since. So
That's
it worked
fantastic.
out. Yeah.
So when you're working for a living, you've got the normal job, you're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. What does the family think when you say, "Hey, I'm going to go jump out of an airplane"?
My mom didn't know. My dad was a huge supporter of the idea and even borrowed me some money for the AFF.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you went out and you did that first jump, and like for a lot of us, it really was a game changer. You land and go, "Oh shit, I guess this is what I do now." But
I also asked my instructor, my tandem instructor, when we were still under a canopy, what should I do to just jump professionally as you guys? I don't want to do what I do anymore. I just want to join you guys. And like he was like, oh, it's a long, long way. You have to first, you have to take the AFF course, then jump a lot, stay all your weekends at the drop zone, and like dedicate your life to it. Okay. And yeah.
I mean, it's kind of funny too, because that's pretty much how it goes for people that get hook, line, and sinker. I mean, I think I was kind of the same, although under canopy, I got sick to my stomach on my first jump.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I almost threw up. I landed really nauseous and super excited to do it again.
Yeah, I know the story.
Yeah. I'm like, I think I'm going to throw up, but that was amazing. I have to do this again. So,
Maybe you like it.
yeah. So, did you just dive straight into it? I mean, no pun intended. You just signed up for AFF and that was it?
Yeah, basically that was it. Back in the day in Poland, like 11 years ago, almost 12 years ago, there was not many coaches or not really a lot of female jumping. There were some, I don't say there weren't, but I don't know, maybe 5 to 10% on the drop zone were girls and ladies. And also, I could say, well, the drop zone where I started to skydive was 1 year old. So that was, like a very first steps of the business. However, it was managed and founded by people who already had their skydiving school for, I don't know, like 15 years or something. So they knew the market very well. But on the drop zone, there were not a lot of people outside of staff and super experienced skydivers.
Hmm.
So I didn't really had anyone to jump with. My first 80 jumps were solo jumps,
Wow.
which is not really something that anyone could do these days.
Sure.
Like people now just finish AFF, and after a couple of solo jumps, they start doing 2-ways with some coaches, then 3-ways, 4-ways. Then of course, like as soon as possible, go tracking, and then of course, just after the B license, they go free fly.
Sure.
But for me, as I said, my first 3-way jump was my 80 jump.
Was it just because of the industry itself in Poland at the time? I mean, I've jumped with and flown many Polish skydivers, but they were all in Chicago.
Yeah, I think so. As I said, on the drop zone, there were not a lot of people I could jump with because they were either not experienced enough, and well, I wasn't feeling safe to jump with someone on the same level as I was, and a lot of people who were too experienced for me, and they were focused on developing their own skills.
Sure.
So, I was too much of a newbie for them.
Was it disheartening? I mean, were you getting frustrated with it, or was it just that's what you knew you had to do if you wanted to keep jumping?
I think a bit of both. It was frustrating, but at the same time, I actually accepted that this is the way I have to do it. Well, I have to keep jumping to eventually get to the point of being worthy of
Sure.
something with the old guys.
Sure.
I mean, old experience-wise.
Did you have an opportunity in those early days to travel to jump more?
Not really. All of my money was on tickets, skydiving tickets, not plane tickets, to travel. So I had to. Well, to be honest, for the AFF, I borrowed money from my dad a little bit, and then from the bank for the AFF and the first 100 jumps.
Wow.
Because I knew that if I jump only from what I have from my salary, I would need to jump like, I don't know, maybe 5, maybe 6 jumps per month. So that was not enough to get anywhere eventually. So the loan was for AFF and first 100 jumps. Then I knew that I can like keep on going without really thinking if I can afford this.
Sure.
And to be honest, I finished paying off the loan way after I even become an instructor. So
how funny is that? I mean, skydivers go in debt a lot, but it's usually to buy the rig they don't need or the newest, fastest canopy, not just to get through student status.
True.
That's pretty cool, though. I mean, you must have been 100% sure that that's what you wanted, because that's some dedication.
Well, that's a bank move. So either you
Sure.
lose everything, including money, or you gain everything. And I am pretty confident that in my personal life, I feel that I won what I wanted.
Sure. Now, as you're pushing through and you're finally getting to the point where you're jumping with other people, did you know what direction working in the sport you wanted to go?
Oh, yeah. I knew it from my very first tandem jump.
Really? That you wanted
Yeah,
to do AFF and instructing and all this stuff?
Yes.
Wow.
From the very first jump.
So you were doing all of these jumps and all of this stuff specifically to get to that. So when did you start doing the coaching and working towards that AFF? How long did it take you?
I started coaching when I had something around 250, maybe 300 jumps. That were very basic coaching jumps for people who barely finished AFF. So, like forward, backwards movement, spinning and slowing down, moving around, keeping your slot, first grips, this kind of stuff. But I already had the camera on my helmet, which was the main advantage of jumping with me for them. And also my partner helped me a lot because we were reviewing the videos that I took with my camera. And before the student came to the briefing area, I already knew what to tell him.
Gotcha.
And so I learned from him a lot. He has now something around 10 or 11,000 skydives, including 3,000 AFFs. So yeah, I had someone to learn from.
So you literally showed up at the drop zone, found a new path in life, found a new career, found a new partner, all in one
Sure.
jump.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was a leap of faith, and I won everything.
That's pretty fucking impressive. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
now you've been working together with your partner this whole time?
Yeah, and I at the same time recommend it and not recommend it.
Yep,
It
I
has a
can.
lot of advantages, and it also has some dark sides, you know, like you're together a lot and you're together like all the time, on the drop zone, at home, all the time.
Sure. That's been, I think, probably the saving grace of my relationship with my wife is that she doesn't jump and has no desire to know any damn thing about skydiving or flying. So that's my thing and she does her thing, and that seems to work out. But I've seen couples that are on the drop zone working together that do incredible. So it can work both ways. You're proof of that.
It depends on people, I think, you know,
Yeah, yeah.
there are people who are able to work together, and there are some who would never be able to do so.
Sure.
So
No, my wife and I'd kill each other.
yeah, I
So
also thought that we would kill each other, but yeah,
you
we
found
like
a way.
each other too much. So
Nice. So when did you finally go for and then get your AFF ticket?
after, well, in Poland we have two stages to become an AFF instructor. First, you need to be like a ground instructor. You can start once you have your D license, so after 500 jumps. Uh, but this is like a long path. You need to pass 11 ground tests in the Civil Aviation Authority, including the weather, navigation, you know, a lot of things. Also, Polish aviation law.
Mm,
And of course, instructor related topics as well. What else? Then you have to make 150 student supervisions. So like a jump supervision, gear check, watching a landing, debriefing, this kind of stuff. But the ground job, and also 50 hours of AFF ground school.
mm.
And once you do it, then you can have your license issued. And this license allows you, guess what, to have the ground lessons, AFF ground lessons, and supervising the students. So all the sexy stuff.
Right.
Uh, yeah. And this is what you do up to 1,000 jumps. And only when you have 1,000 jumps, you can become an AFF instructor. So
Okay.
it doesn't go like in USPA when you can do it like way sooner. And there are different ways to be an instructor, like around a couple of hundreds of jumps. But here you have to have the very 1,000
Well,
jump only to start the AFF instructor course.
the other huge
So
difference
yeah,
from FA or from the USPA is that the USPA has no connection to the FAA. They work very, very hard to try and have no connection whatsoever to the Aviation Authority
exactly.
and self-governed. So that's actually surprising. I didn't realize that Poland has them linked.
Yeah, that's one thing. And the second thing is that our Civil Aviation Authority doesn't allow people with USPA license to commercially work in Poland. So they would need to have their license converted. But that means that they need to meet all the requirements, including the jump number, but they also have to have like a transition course to fill all the gaps, including the Polish law, as I mentioned. So there are a lot of things that they would need to do to have the Polish license, which actually slows down the process so much that it's nearly impossible to do it properly
Sure,
as they.
sure. Well, I mean, I would imagine though the way they do things leaves you incredibly prepared if you wanted to go somewhere else and work.
Yeah, well, I have my license converted to USPA as well because I wanted to have both the Polish license and the USPA in case I need to move somewhere from Poland.
Sure.
Uh, the biggest I would say a, a catalyst. I don't know how to say it in English. Like the very idea of moving from Poland was the elections that were taking place in October in Poland. So we didn't know if the right wing will win or the central or left wing.
Sure.
Fortunately, we had a big shift in politics because the country wasn't really going in the right direction. But now it's getting better and better. It's still difficult, but the idea of moving out from Poland, that was there. So that was the main reason that we wanted to have the USPA license.
Sure.
But now having this, we will most likely have our job zone affiliated with USPA, and this way we kind of feel that it's going to be upgraded.
Sure. Well, and I mean, at the end of the day, it also just gives you the option for not having to worry about license issues if you want to travel and go jump abroad, even if it's just for fun, you've got it. So back to your
However, I was never denied with the Polish license. So of
Sure.
course the USPA license speaks for itself, but the Polish license is as much good as any other.
Sure, absolutely. Now, speaking again about the licensing, you got your license to do the ground AFF, but how did you end up getting in the air?
So this first license I got after 3.5 years of skydiving, and like once you don't have to pay for your jumps because you start coaching, it accelerates. So this gets easier. To speed up the number of your jumps. So after another less than 2 years, so 5 years in total, I would say, less than 5 years, 4.5, I had the required 1,000, and my partner was also my instructor, both in AFF and AFF instructor course. So he got me prepared, and then I was also double checked by other instructors on our drop zone and from outside of our drop zones who were actually visiting at the same time. And then I knew that I was ready. To be fair, during this whole time, from the very beginning, from AFF until I actually got a license, there were a lot of people who discouraged me from getting an AFF instructor license. Because they were, they were encouraging. They were saying that it's for my own good because this is not really a job for a girl. You have to have a lot of power. You have to be heavier than your students to be able to get to them. You have to keep them tight in the door. You really won't have enough strength to do it, and that was basically the narrative that I was hearing all along, not from my partner. He was the one who encouraged me all the time, and he was the one who told me that it's not about the strength, it's about the technique.
Yes.
And now I also know it, but before I got the license, before I started to actually jump with the students, I could only take it for granted. I mean, I have to believe that this is how it really is.
Sure. Well, some of the most talented AFF instructors I've ever met are women. I mean, I can think of at least 3 or 4 off the top of my head that were dramatically better than I was. So
when I got my license, I was a 6th female AFF instructor in Poland.
Wow.
So yeah, that was really something unique at the time.
Sure.
At least I think now we have still less than 10.
I know that it's still there's quite a disparagement between men versus women in the sport, but I also see that that's changing. But that's still quite a quite just a small number of female instructors.
True.
Yeah,
I think, like a lot of women just can't afford skydiving, not maybe even money wise, but you have a lot of different roles in your life as a woman.
sure.
I'm also a mother of two girls, so I know exactly what I'm saying, and I can imagine that it's very, very difficult to be at the same the instructor, a mother, and an employee probably somewhere out there. So yes, at least in Poland, it's very difficult to be well to earn your living only from skydiving because of the length of the season. We only jump from April to October, so you still have the winter to cover somehow. So
Sure.
you either earn a lot of money on skydiving during the season, so you don't really have to do anything during winter, which is a case of maybe, I don't know, maybe two, maybe three people in Poland. I don't know. Not much,
Yeah,
not many. But on the other hand, you can have like a second job or a first job, however you call it, but a different from skydiving job, which lasts the whole year. And then if you're a man, it's a little bit easier. If you're a woman and you have to like support your family and your first career and your second career as a skydiving instructor, well, that really that's a lot to
sure.
handle.
Well, and now on top of everything, you're working as a skydiving instructor, you're a mother of two, but you're also running a drop zone and dealing with the skydiving symposium. When the
Yeah.
fuck do you sleep?
In the meantime.
So, well, tell me briefly about managing the drop zone. How did that come about?
That was a process, I think. So when I started skydiving, after a couple of months, since I was already a partner of one of the founders of this of the drop zone, I started to help out with social media. So I was there anyway. So since I'm there every single jumping day, I can help out, make some pictures, videos, whatever, posting every now and then just to keep things moving.
Mm,
Then I started to do more and more around the marketing, like, t-shirts, apparel, hats, flyers, advertising in some external media, and so on. So this is how I got into being a part of staff. And in 2014, we had to move from one airfield to another. So we had to switch locations, and that was a big shift for everyone, including all instructors and staff members. So we had to like a lot of changes during that time. And we also decided to change the form of our company. So we decided it's better to be an association
sure.
because first of all, because what we do is actually making the sport more and more popular, and this is the main objective. That was also the main goal of the founders, to have the drop zone, which is focused on skydivers and their progression, and have the tandems to actually support financially,
Sure.
but not the other way around, just to have the tandems as the main acts of everything that happens around, and the skydivers to just feel the plane.
Sure.
So we had it the other way around, and since the main objective was to focus on skydivers, we also decided to go this direction. And I was asked to be part of the board. But on the very beginning, it was just, to be there and to somehow, represent, also be a female representative, which is kind of, important. But then with every year, I was getting more and more active, and yeah, well, somehow at some point I started to manage the drop zone like in real.
Well, and your previous experience with business had to pay off and make you a great candidate for exactly that, because a lot of the people that end up in management in skydiving don't have a business background, and it can be a tough business.
That's true. Well, it is a tough business.
Yeah.
I won't believe any drop zone owner if they tell me that their life is easy and they enjoy every single day. That's not true. Don't
Yeah.
believe them.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you, I learned very easy in the sport that I've worked for a few intense drop zone owners, and looking back now, I can understand why they were so intense. But at the time, you're like, "Holy shit, that guy's an asshole," and then you're like, "Oh, it's because he's got to deal with skydivers every day." we can
Maybe
be,
so.
yeah, we can be an interesting bunch to try and manage. There's no doubt, and in a
That's
tough
true.
business.
But also I find this work very not only very challenging, but also very rewarding.
Oh yeah,
When you can see all the people coming back from the airfield, like no matter if it's a tandem passenger or if it's a AFF student or a bunch of skydivers who just had, like a sick jump,
yep,
whatever.
yep.
You know that you create a place where people really make their dreams come true, and this is not like an empty phrase. They really
Sure.
do this.
Oh,
So well, keeping that in mind and in heart is actually what makes us keep on moving.
sure. I mean, I've been feeding off of the energy of skydivers and the stuff that we do for almost 30 years. I mean, it's infectious, you can't get enough of it, and it's just addictive. Now, you've gone through all of this from instructor and managing now, and obviously staying incredibly busy with that, but then you take on working with the European Skydiving Symposium. How did that come about?
So the main organizer, Arek Majewski, he's also a manager of drop zone in Warsaw. But back in the day, he organized. Well, the origin of the skydiving symposium was pretty different from I thought it was, because well, the main reason to organize the first one was the first fatal accident that we had in Poland in tandem skydiving.
Mm.
So that was the first one, and luckily the only one. But Arek Majewski, he decided to well, he went to PIA in States, and he really enjoyed it, especially the seminars. And he thought that for Polish instructors, it's super expensive to go
Sure.
overseas and to listen to every expert and to learn. So it probably would be cheaper to invite a couple of experts to Poland and then let the skydivers learn. And the first symposium was not really. Well, that was a symposium, but that was only for tandem instructors and camera flyers,
Mm-hmm.
and that was also for free. So he invited a couple of experts, and his main partner in crime was Tom Noonan from UPT.
Yep.
And it was a really great story, because when Arek had this idea of creating a symposium, organizing the symposium for tandem instructors, he didn't know Tom in person at all. He found his contact somewhere online, and he texted him, "Would you be interested in coming to Poland to give a lecture for Polish tandem instructors and camera flyers? Because we had the first fatal accident and we want to keep the sport safer."
Mm.
And he replied in a few minutes with one word: yes.
Yes.
And that was the first symposium. He came, and also I think 2 or 3 other experts came at the time. I don't really know, because I was not part of it. I'm not the tandem instructor, so that was not my fairy tale. But after the first edition, and the huge interest that he encountered, because he had something around 80 or 90, I think it was 80 people coming. So, and he expected something around 2025.
Sure.
So that was like a really a great response. He decided to organize a second edition, which would be not for tandem instructors only, but for everyone. And he also invited a couple of people still working with Tom Noonan, but that was the second edition was still without me. There were some organizational organizational issues, because the dates were confirmed very late. So there was not enough time to properly advertise the event, but still they had something around 120 participants. But not a lot. Well, many people didn't know that that was for everyone. So distributing this information that this symposium is for instructors, but also for everyday skydivers and students and everyone, that was a difficult thing to do, especially if you only had 4 weeks to do so.
Sure.
But I was also, yeah, go on.
I was going to say, starting out with that first symposium with Tom Noonan, I mean, he was just amazing. I've actually had him on the show a couple of times, and he's so fun to talk to, and was so passionate about tandems, you know, more than anything else about tandems, and of course about high altitude stuff. That to have somebody like Tom from UPT come out and talk tandems, you can't get any better than that.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Personally, I think that's why the interest was so high, because he was coming personally.
Yeah, Tom was an absolute rock star when it came to being able to talk to people and to give incredible information. So
I was participating in the second edition, and I really liked it. There were a lot of things that I learned, and Maya asked me for just to have a short conversation after everything was done and finished. And he said that he had the idea of organizing next symposiums with a drop zone. Sorry. And he figured that he would ask me to organize the next edition with me. You know what? Sorry,
Yeah, of course. It's going around the whole world. Everybody's got a nasty cough.
Yeah. Okay, so just to get back to the original thought. So after the second symposium, Arek he suggested that we could organize the next edition together, because he wanted to organize next edition with different drop zone at the every time, which was a fun idea. And he picked our drop zone to be his first partner, and that was a funny moment, because what he didn't know about me was that I was organizing conferences for a living for almost 10 years. So that was my biggest personal challenge, to combine my two fields of expertise.
Sure.
You know, skydiving and organizing conferences.
Must have been fun though, right?
That's true. Very challenging, but also very rewarding. I got to work with all the big brands, and also some really amazing speakers, which I would never assume that I would meet them in person, you know?
Sure.
So the third edition was already with my help, and we had a very nice turnout of 350 people coming up. Yeah. And we had a great feedback from the sponsors. I think we had 12 or 13 sponsors who showed up. And on the next edition, the last one that we had in 2022, we had 22 or 23.
Nice.
So that was growing really nicely. And also we had 550 people who showed up.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was really nice. And we got amazing feedback after the last edition. I have to say that I have never heard so many nice things about the work that I have done in my entire career, both in skydiving and in organizing conferences. That was the best conferences I ever got to organize.
Well, I mean, it had to have been fantastic, if for nothing else, because you're taking the expertise from your previous career and combining it with your passion. So, especially to have it turn out so well must have been really cool.
Yeah, that's true. Like we had an amazing team because now from the fourth edition, from the last edition, also the Warsaw Drop Zone joined. So the Skydive Warsaw, in person of Kasia Witkowska. So now we are the team of three, Arek, Kasia, and myself. And we had some, like job distribution and task distribution between us. And I'm responsible for the agenda, for the sponsors and partnerships management, and for the website and the mobile application, and for social media.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's a lot to handle. But as I said, I had this feeling that this upcoming edition is going to be really something.
That's fantastic. Now, speaking of, tell me about the specifics for this upcoming symposium, like what the dates are, how long it's going to be, where it's at, all that stuff.
So this edition, as the previous editions, is going to be in Warsaw in Poland. It's on the beginning of March from 6 to 8. So this is going to be a 3-day event full of seminars and other additional surprises that we have in there. But these are surprises, so I can't really tell much. What I want to highlight, because this is actually very important for me as a communication, is that the European Skydiving Symposium is not a fair trade. Like, for example, I went to PIA and I went to British Skydive Expo, and these are expo events, which has seminars as addition, and we have it a bit, the other way around. We have a conference with expo as an addition. So the main focus and the main acts of the events around the symposium is about seminars, keynotes, workshops, and everything that is linked this way or the other with education. So all the seminars are always safety related. And we like to advertise the symposium as the 3 safety days before the season. This
Nice.
way we know that this is the best moment, and because we have it on the beginning of March, so usually on the very beginning of the season, except for the last edition, because we had to move it from March to November because of the Russian invasion on Ukraine.
Sure.
Which happened just a few days before the event. So like moving it was a nightmare.
Sure.
Yeah, but that was necessary because we had to focus on other stuff at the moment. We didn't know how the things will develop. But the idea is to have the symposium every second year, not to collide with the PIA symposium. Well, we kind of work together. Like, I mean, we are not like officially partners, but we meet every now and then. We have a conversation how to make the events not to collide one with another.
Sure.
So there is a nice collaboration, I would say. And yeah, the March is the best moment to have the safety day, usually for all the drop zones. So that was also the idea, to have it to have the symposium at the same time.
Sure.
And what we now have, comparing to the first editions, we have 5 different stages. They're not like all parallel at the same time. But we have, first of all, we have the fun jumper stage, which is the main stage for every skydiver, no matter what ratings they have, if they even have the rating or the license for that matter. So this is the stage that goes and is active from the morning till the very evening. Then we have the tandem stage, which is on the day 1 after lunch. On the day 2, we have the drop zone management stage from the morning until lunch, and after lunch we have the instructor stage. And on the 3rd day, we have the rigger stage as the second.
Nice.
The second one. So that's why we also want to have the focus on the audience, not to be spread for between a couple of stages, just 2 stages at the same time. So the fun jumpers for everyone and something for professionals.
Nice. It sounds like it's a very well thought out organization with a specific plan, that being safety in mind, which is amazing.
That's the main goal, to keep our sport safer with every edition. And I have this thought in my head that even if organizing the symposium has a result of even one life which would be safe because of some information that was said or learned during the event, that's really worth all the effort.
Absolutely, it is, without a doubt. Now, in regard to this one coming up, if people are interested in going, how do they deal with, is there a registration process? You guys are able to help them out if they're traveling from outside of Poland with places to stay, all that kind of stuff?
Yes, of course. There is a website which is pretty straightforward. It's skydivingsymposium.eu. And you have the registration button all around the website. You have our social media channels on Instagram and Facebook, so it's very easy to find. The registrations links are also published in every post that we have, the sponsor posts and the speakers announcements. So the registration is very simple, a couple of fields. And you can also choose the type of ticket you want, because you can go for all 3 days, or you can just choose a day which you want to attend, 1 or 2 or whichever. The full agenda is also published on the website and in the mobile application. If you're more of a mobile person, you can just download the mobile app, which is also very difficult to remember. It's called Skydiving Symposium. So you just download it and you can see all the sponsors details, speakers details, agenda, floor plans, notifications, everything that you need to know is in there. And the application is also very handy during the event, because you not only you get some updates which are crucial if you want not to be late on the party, or if you want to go to the proper room, etc. But also you get information about the upcoming seminars. You can mark the seminars that you're interested in with a star or a heart. I don't remember, but you just mark them as favorite, and then you get a notification 10 minutes before the seminar, so you are like 100% sure you don't miss it.
Sure.
You can rate each speaker, you can rate each presentation. We also actually have, since the last edition, we have a Tom Noonan Award for the best speaker.
Awesome. I mean,
so this is how it goes.
You couldn't have named it after a better speaker, that's for sure. Now,
yeah, that's our thought.
With you, for the drop zone that you're working at, somebody that is thinking about getting into jumping in Poland is listening and wants you to be their instructor. Where are they going to go? How do they find your drop zone? How do they find you?
So my drop zone is called Skycamp, and we are also on social media and on the website. They can also ping me directly on my channels. I'm very happy to help and to guide you through the clouds. So
fantastic. Marta, I tell you what, I can't thank you enough for taking the time this morning to sit and have a chat with me. Tell me about your journey in as well as the symposium. It sounds like it's going to be a hell of an event.
Thank you very much, and I hope to see you there.
Absolutely. See ya. Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Damn.